Hi everybody and welcome to week 3. Today's topic, Introduction to the Scientific Understanding of Sleep, Sleep Hygiene Education, and 7 Attitudes of Practicing Mindfulness. So the first half of this PowerPoint / presentation is just going to be the discussion on sleep hygiene. So I will let you read those first 5 to 6 slides on your own, and then I will meet you on the back half of this presentation to discuss the 7 attitudes of practicing mindfulness. The 7 attitudes of mindfulness are non-judging, patience, beginner's mind, trust, non-striving, acceptance, letting go. We will be discussing each one of these individually. Okay, so a mindful, non-judging attitude is cultivated by assuming the stance of an impartial witness to your own experience. So to do this, it does require that you become aware of all of the streams of judging and your reaction to your inner and outer experiences. And when you really start to pay attention to that, you will see that almost everything is being judged, labeled, or categorized. So immediately you will either place value on something that is happening and say to yourself, oh, this is good, or you will give it a low ranking and say that this is bad. And of course, there are situations that are just neutral. They're neither good nor bad. However, that is still a judgment. So for an example, in our breathing exercises that we have been trying throughout the last couple of weeks, in those first 5 minutes, 10 minutes, if you notice thoughts creep up that say, oh, this is boring, I can't do this isn't working, those are all judgments about your experience in that moment. And there is no reason to judge the judgment. Just acknowledge and let it be, let it go. Recognize that your mind is judging and become impartial to that and observe without categorizing the situation as either good or bad. The next is having an attitude of mindful patience. This one seems very self-explanatory. However, this is more geared towards having patience towards yourself and trying not to rush experiences when they arise, whether the experience is negative or positive. So even in an experience where you might be frustrated, agitated, angry, just giving yourself room to have the experience and knowing that you can't rush that, and then also not judging the experience, just letting it unfold in the moment, accepting that that is the moment, and not allowing or pushing ourselves to rush things because we have our own timeline. That's easier said than done, but practicing patience towards yourself and accepting what is happening without judging it. The attitude of the beginner's mind. So often we show up to a situation or to a present moment and we have a lot of judgments that we bring to this. The beginner's mind is just willing to see everything for the first time and a new perception and a new possibility to that situation instead of this stuck in a rut mentality. So I know for me, one of the hardest things is to not go into work believing that this is going to be the absolute worst day, worst shift, and all the patients are just extremely needy. Instead of coming in to that work day without any judgment and without my perceived experiences before I have even hit the floor. So this is just something that we could practice in our own daily life. And you can practice it with your children, with your spouse, with your friends, with your coworkers. And ask yourself if you're seeing this person or the situation with fresh eyes, or if you're just seeing the reflection of your thoughts that you've already established about this person. And just try a new perspective on a situation and in an experience. Having a mindful attitude of trust. This is an interesting one. Many times we project our trust outwardly, and we believe that in order to gain trust, a particular person must X, Y, and Z, and then you will trust them. However, in mindfulness, this asks you to learn and build the skill of trust within yourself. So when you're meditating, it's fully accepting the sensations arising in your body without any judgment and relying on your own internal experiences to guide you rather than seeking that external validation of trust from other people. So when you're practicing your breathing exercises throughout the week, really become aware of your body's sensations and understand that your body carries with it a level of wisdom that sometimes we take for granted. So we don't really think about the fact that our heart is beating. It's just going to beat. We don't think about the fact that our bodies are metabolizing. They're just metabolizing. And so understanding that you can trust your body, meaning you can also trust yourself, is essential in understanding the trust mind aspect of mindfulness. Non-striving as it relates to meditation or the breathing practices that you are working on, either daily or weekly, it just means do not strive. So mindfulness involves simply paying attention to what is happening. So if you're tense, just be tense. If you're criticizing yourself, then observe the judgment, but don't judge the judgment. Do not sit down to meditate to try and get relaxed or to try to get enlightened. Remember, you're just allowing your experiences to be present in that moment because it already is. You don't have to do anything with it. The mindfulness attitude of acceptance. It's interesting because one of the points here, it says often acceptance is reached only after we have gone through a very emotional-filled period of denial and then anger. I'm sure we can all relate to that. One of the things that I always think about is my first year as a nurse. And I thought, healthcare has definitely betrayed me. I was very angry at what it really meant to be a nurse. And it took, I would say, about 3 years before I accepted what it really is to be a nurse. But often we waste just so much energy denying and resisting what is already the fact. And the fact is that it's a tough career. We are all understanding of that. So accepting things as they are in the present. If something's difficult, then something is just difficult. Acceptance does not mean that you have to like everything or that you have to be passive or that you have to abandon your principles or values. Certainly not. It just means that sooner or later you have to come around to the willingness to see what actually is. cultivating a mindfulness attitude of letting go is actually very difficult. When we start to pay attention to our inner experiences, we discover that there are certain thoughts, emotions, or situations that our minds want to hold on to. And it's very difficult to then just let your experience be what it is right now. And sometimes what we find that we're doing is attaching our identity to one experience or one event or one aspect of our lives, and then moving forward, we never let that go. And it's very difficult, but letting go of things just means accepting what is right now, and also just giving up that hope that the past could be any different. And that is okay. You're not accepting that things were either right or things were either wrong. You're not judging it. You're just acknowledging it, letting it go, and accepting what is now. Okay, so for homework this week, just the sitting meditation for 15 minutes daily. If possible, if you could try to do this for 7 straight days, 15 minutes, 7 straight days. I will attach a script also. So best of luck. Thank you so much for joining me this week.